Good morning, good morning. My name is Frederick Southern. I'm one of the practitioners here at Ahiah Center for Spiritual Living. And thank you so much for joining us for our morning meditation. So just simply allow yourself to find a good spot. Find a good body position. And just find your breathing. Take notice of your breathing. Whether you inhale or exhale through your nostrils, or you inhale through your nostrils and exhale through your mouth. Just know that each breath that you take relaxes you, releases any tension there may be, starting with the top of your head and moving on down and visualizing an onion just taking off in layers and allowing that relaxation moving down to your neck and your shoulders, and just naturally comes down to your chest. And you can just feel that tension diffuse, unwind, and let it naturally go on down to your stomach and your waistline. And then down to your hips. Noticing your breathing through your nostrils or exhaling through your mouth. And the rest of your body just simply wants to follow. Your thighs, your knees, your feet. And in this moment, just know that that week is behind you. You don't have to carry it with you. It's not yours to carry with you. The past is just that, behind you. And know that each step that you took each day was divinely ordered. And you did well, you did good. And breathe. And breathe. And anytime your mind seems to drift, just know that your inhale and your exhale will bring you back to the now. And the now is just simply letting each event of the week fade away. Whatever came up for you on Monday, just breathe and say it was perfect and let it go. Tuesday, breathe and let it go. Whatever happened on Wednesday, take that deep breath. And let it go. And each time you breathe, you inhale, you exhale, and you let it go. It's already been handled. Thursday, whatever event took place, and breathe and let it go. And then on Friday, whatever took place on Friday. Simply breathe and let it go. And each day that you let go, you're honoring yourself, getting closer to yourself, feeling more and more that presence of God. And now Saturday is here. You can visualize the things that just took place yesterday. And that is also gone. It is also behind you. Knowing that your steps were perfectly ordered. And breathe. Take a deep breath with me. Hold it. And gently release. That was your week. You released it. And you may have had a good week. And if you did have a good week, you can say, yes, Spirit. Yes. More. Thank you. Please. I deserve it. And now today is Sunday. You're in the here and now. Fully relaxed. Fully aware. You're fully present. And breathe. And as we are here in the presence, whatever sounds that you hear, they're just naturally fading away in the background. And just focus on your breathing. Right here, right now. All the sounds fade away. And relax. And take this moment right now to just simply be selfish with this peace. Be selfish with this tranquility. It's yours. Bask in it. Feel comfortable in it. And be aware of it right now, right here, right now. And breathe. Inhale. Hold it. And exhale gently through your mouth. And relax. Today is the day you set your intentions for the week. It starts with peace. It starts with tranquility. You have this even tone about yourself. And you can carry this with you for the rest of the week. The situations you may encounter, whether it's at work, just going throughout your day, everything is coming your way. These are the intentions for the week. In the flow. you see yourself in the flow. Just simply being in the flow. And breathe. Take a deep breath with me, please. A little further. Hold it. And release. It's okay to make that sound because it just takes you deeper and deeper into relaxation. So we'll do that again. We'll take another deep breath, and then we'll hold it, and then just out of your mouth. 3, 2, 1. Inhale. A little deeper. Hold it, and then out of your mouth. That felt good. That felt real good. And as you say the word good to yourself, just simply say to yourself, good. Very good. Beyond good. And as you say good, good is the nickname of God. That you're a part of God. You're in the center of God. You're connected with God. And each time you say good, allow that sensation to just come over you. Accept it. Good. Embrace it. Good. It's yours. It's mine. It's enough to share. It's enough to go around. And breathe. As we're all together as one, simply breathe. Bring your attention back through your breathing as you inhale, and you can feel your breath going through your nostrils, staying in the here and the now, and breathe. And as you inhale in, you can say to yourself, I am. And then as you're exhaling, just say to yourself, grateful. Inhale, I am. Exhale, grateful. Inhale, I am, all the way. And as you exhale, grateful. As you inhale all the way, I am all the way. And then exhale, grateful. Feel that gratitude surrounding you like a warm white light. Be grateful about each event that takes place from this point on. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, next Friday. That spirit of gratitude you're taking with you is what you bring to every situation. That pleasantness, that gratitude, that feeling of equilibrium. This is who you are, and you carry it with you, and your presence is felt. And breathe. Breathe in, I am. And as you release, grateful. You can feel it in your shoulders. You can feel it in your chest. It gives you that feeling of confidence. And breathe. And as you bring your attention gently back into the room, we can wind down and just stay in that flow as we are preparing ourselves for the good service, the God service, this morning at Ahiah. And if and when you're ready, you can open your eyes and just stay in that presence of the flow. Our service will start in 2 minutes. And namaste.
Yes, yes, yes. That was Chris Glick tickling the keys over there. And Leon Johnson behind him on the bass. Yes, and we got Brian Menifee in the corner holding up the percussions, the rhythm. This is the Ahiah Sunday Go to Meeting Band, family. Let's give them some love. Indeed, indeed, indeed. Yes, yes, yes. Happy March, happy daylight saving time, happy spring, happy Sunday, happy life, indeed, indeed. It's good to be home, good to be back after some much needed rest and recreation, some renewal, some rejuvenation, some regeneration. Yes, indeed. It's that time of year, isn't it? Yes, our theme this month is Cultivating Authenticity. Yes, and appropriately enough for that title, we have with us the world's first and only authentic rapping harpist, Jessica Brizuela, our musical inspiration today. Yes, indeed. She's going to uplift us. She bought her baby harp today, and we are so grateful to have her in our midst. And grateful to have you here as well as we co-create God's party, a celebration of the divine. I'm Reverend Michael Bernard Lattimore, your assistant minister, guide on the side. Our invocation and reading today will be delivered by Frederick Southern. He's a licensed practitioner here at Ahiah. He's also going to deliver the wisdom talk today. So way to go, way to go. Awesome. Indeed, indeed. And the wisdom talk title is Boundaries Build Bridges. Boundaries build bridges. Very important, I'd say. And Reverend Scott Olson is our senior minister. He's going to deliver the wisdom talk and handle everything else. And also we want to just acknowledge folks that make this service possible. We've got Harris, our technical director. He's managing the flow of electrons out to Facebook and YouTube for our live streaming, indeed. And our hugs. Ushers and greeters, Dorothy and Sandra. They are also giving selfless service. I see Milton Warren around here, and I know he's of service because every time he shows up, he's doing something good. Indeed, indeed. And in the sound booth, it's empty, but I'm going to make up that Frederick Southern is managing the sound as well. So we just want to acknowledge you. Thank you very much for your selfless service. And so with that, I think it's ready to get God's party started. We have an inspirational, music. Are we going to do the congregational today? Yeah. So let's do a congregational. Let's get started with the singing of I Trust in God. Yeah. So please stand and join us for the singing of I Trust in God.
Singing sounds really nice. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Jessica. So let's just go ahead and take a nice deep breath in. Let it go. If you missed the meditation this morning, that was another time that we got to just let everything go. But right now we're going to prepare to do a meditation video put together by Gabriel Leon.
You've got a friend in me. You've got a friend in me. When the road looks rough ahead et très loin de ton lit douillet. Rappelle-toi ce que ton vieux pote disait. Oui, je suis ton ami. Je suis ton ami. Hay un amigo en mí. Hay un amigo en mí. Y cuando sufras, aquí me tendrás. No dejaré de estar contigo, ya verás. Egal was passiert, verlass dich auf mich, denn du hast einen Freund in mir. Du hast einen Freund in mir.有些人比我能干，比我强，身体健壮，走起路雄赳赳。난 나처럼 널 아끼는 친구 또 없을걸. And as the years go by, our friendship will never die. You're gonna see it's our destiny. You've got a friend in me. Je suis ton ami. Hay un amigo en mí. Du hast einen Freund in me. 我是你好朋友，难道一见过呀？
And as we continue to stay in that flow, that sense of consciousness, join with me right now as we go within to feel the presence of God, knowing that God is all there is. The one light, the one sound, the one mind, the one love. The very presence of our being and existence. Right now, taking that opportunity to connect, feeling that presence, knowing that connection, knowing that love, you are strength, you are that purity. That's you. That's me. And if you don't know it for yourself, I know it for you. I know it with you. In the beginning, as God spoke the word, let there be, let there be, let there be. But God spoke. And being in that oneness, we speak. And people, our world around us. We speak peace. We speak presence. We speak the next move. We speak health. We speak kindness to others, for others. Because we're all connected. Also, as I speak my word, I'm speaking peace, blessings, and abundance over this service today, knowing that we're here to be touched from the inside out. As Reverend Scott delivers his message, it's filled. He is that mouthpiece of God. The music, and everyone here, and what we bring to this place, not for ourselves, but also for others. And we're giving. We're receiving, but we're also giving. So thanks be to God for this giving. And in this thanksgiving, it's done with mixed emotions, joy and happiness. So I release my word into the law. As I speak my word, there's only one God and nothing else to compare. We have that power. We use that power. We release it for the good of others, and we let it go. And all together we say, and so it is. I'm reading from Science of Mind 365. And typically I would try to find the page for that particular day, but it's not today. But it is a message that resonates with me, and I also hope resonates with you. I prepare for that which I wish to experience. And God is able to make all grace abound toward you. 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 8. Realizing that all actions start with and result of consciousness. I prepare my mind to receive the best that life has to offer. Mentally, I associate myself, which is good and beautiful and happy. I am increasingly aware of the one presence, the one life, the one spirit, which is God. Believing that it is divine intention for everyone to live an abundant life, I consciously align myself with the outpouring of spirit. Accepting that all things are possible to the one who has faith. I daily increase my expectancy and know that it unfolds. I cultivate my faith, keeping my consciousness open to an increasing awareness of my union with good. So today, I express an increase. Today, I expect greater peace. Today, I expect greater joy. Today, I expect more happiness, peace, and more complete sense of divine power. Today, I meet everyone with the understanding that he and she is a part of the divine. Today, I gradually and gladly and joyfully enter into the inheritance of the kingdom of good. I know that I have life, and that I have intelligence, and that I live by faith, and I'm part of this divine being. Therefore, I accept this life fully and without any reservations. I hold the conviction that good is the eternal reality, and I live in the good now. Happy Sunday.
Yes. Thank you, Frederick. And so now I'd like to go ahead and ask Jessica to come on up. And while she's coming up, this is an opportunity for us to give a nice Ahiah welcome to the people here and back there and on the screen up there, online. It's wonderful having you here today. So, Jessica, it's good to see you, and thank you. For those of you who don't know, Elizabeth's mom passed away this last week, and that she's normally scheduled on the third Sunday. And so, you know, Elizabeth, if you're watching right now, we love you, and we love your family. We're keeping them in prayer. And but thank you very much, Jessica, for saying on a short notice that you would come in. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. So, all right, let's get some music here. drifting away. Maybe that is why I chase strangers away. They got their guns out aiming at me, and I become near when they aiming at me. Me against them, me against enemies, me against friends. Somehow they both seem to become one. A sea full of shots and they all smell blood. They start coming and I start rising. Must be surprising, I'm just surmising. I win, thrive, soar, higher, 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 more fire. I came to win, to fight, to conquer, to rise. I came to win, to survive, to prosper, to rise, to fly. Everybody wanna try to box me in, suffocating every time it locks me in. Paint their own pictures and they carve me in, but I will remain where the top begins. Cause I'm not a word, I'm not a line, I'm not a girl that can never be defined. I'm not fly, I'm levitation. I represent an entire generation. I hear the criticism loud and clear. That is how I know that the time is near. See, we become alive in a time of fear, and I ain't got no time to spare. Crying my eyes out for days upon days. Such a heavy burden placed upon me. But when you go hard, your nays become yeas. Know that God is there with you always. I came to win, to fight, to conquer, to rise. I came to thrive, to prosper, to rise, to Get ready for it, get ready for it, get ready for it. I came to win. Get ready for it, get ready for it, get ready for it. I came to win. Get ready for it, get ready for it, get ready for it. I came. Sing with me. Get ready for it, get ready for it, get ready for it. I came to win. Get ready for it, get ready for it, get ready for it. I came last time. Get ready for it, get ready for it, get ready for it. I came to win, to thrive, to prosper, to rise. I came to win, to survive, to conquer, to thrive, to
Yes. You know, it's such a nice, interesting variety. It's two things you don't see, together very often. What if I were to start rapping my sermon? Those would be two things that don't seem to go well. I don't know. I think I have to potentially to give it a try. I need to practice it a little bit first. So anyway, thank you, Jessica. So this theme for March, as Reverend Mike has said, is continuing to be cultivating authenticity. And so we're working on this idea of being true to ourselves, to be honest with ourselves, to be genuine with ourselves. And our founder, Ernest Holmes, he says it this way. He says, authenticity is the foundation of a successful life. We must be honest with ourselves and others and live in accordance with our highest principles and values. So he's telling us to be honest with ourselves. and with others. Which one do you think is more difficult? I think it's more difficult to be honest with ourselves. Because when we're honest with other people, we're only having to be honest with a little bitty piece at a time, right? But when we're honest with ourselves, we have to be honest with ourselves all the time on everything. We need to tell the truth to ourselves about everything, about how we feel, what do we want, what are our desires? Here's that word again. And what are our fears? We have to be honest about our fears. What things stress us out? What things, really, give us a phobic, reaction to? And so we have to tell those things to ourselves. And when we are dishonest with ourselves about those things, what happens? Well, we make bad choices, bad decisions in our lives. An example of that would be, if in relationships, I'm dishonest with myself about relationships, maybe I'm afraid to be alone, for instance. And then what kind of decisions do I make in the relationship if I don't recognize that? Well, I cling on to people around me. I'm afraid that they're going to go away, and I don't recognize it for myself. And so I just find myself clinging. So there are other possibilities. What else makes you guys afraid? What areas of your life might you be afraid in? I know there are many possibilities. This one's a little harder than the questions I normally ask you, but maybe I said relationships was an example. What about being dishonest with ourselves about our career goals? For example, I remember in my life, 30 years at an aerospace company, I was a little dishonest with myself about how much I wanted to put into that job. I had it in my mind that I needed to climb to the top. And I found that every time I got a promotion, it was just more. It took more away from me. And so finally I got honest with myself that, the amount of time and effort was not worth what I was doing. That time and effort wasn't worth what I was getting out of it. What about health habits? Right? Sometimes we're not quite honest with ourselves about health habits. Have you guys thought of anything else? Well, I'll give you a couple more. How about personal values? We might not be honest with ourselves about our personal values. Or what our emotions are. What are we feeling in any particular moment? So that's a tougher question, right, than the ones I normally ask you guys. But, it's food for thought around what does it mean to be honest with ourselves? What does it mean to tell the truth? And what are the choices that we make when we don't tell ourselves the truth? Now, this week, we're still in the Seasons for Nonviolence, and so we're all the way in week 8 now, week 8. This goes for another week and a day or so. And so week 8 starts tomorrow. And the theme for this week is nonviolence challenges us to stand for truth by taking action that honors the dignity and truth and worth of every human being. The dignity and worth of every human being. And so it has some practices for us to focus on for each day of the week. It's got choice, advocacy, equality, action, giving, responsibility, self-sufficiency. Right? Got lots of things going on here. So, that's Seasons for Nonviolence. What I'd like to do now is I'd like to ask Frederick to come on back up, and he's going to do a power talk.
Good morning once again. I took a look at Reverend Scott's sermon outline for the month, and it was on boundaries to bridges. I said, okay, I'm going to work on this because we all need boundaries. And initially, I thought there were only two types, physical and emotional. But as I started my research for this Power Talk, I discovered there are 7 different types of boundaries: physical, sexual, emotional, spiritual, financial, time, and non-negotiable boundaries. You know, boundaries are here to protect you and your right to have your own feelings and your own thoughts, and in a way of life that suits you. Not having your feelings criticized or invalidated, and not having to take responsibility for other people's feelings. Emotional boundaries differentiate your feelings from other people's. So you're accountable for your feelings and no one else's, and you're letting the other person be accountable for their own feelings. So emotional boundaries also allow us to create emotional safety by respecting our feelings, respecting yours, and not oversharing in a way that's inappropriate just for the sake of getting close to someone. So, honoring our boundaries. How many times had you said yes when you would rather have said no? I mean, it's difficult. You know, it's difficult denying a request, you know, for our time, our energy, and our resources. And the thing of it is that we've been trained to be kind. We've been trained to be generous and compassionate towards others. But what about ourselves? What about you? What about your needs? And if we ignore the care of ourselves, then we're in that frame of giving that becomes obligatory. And then even worse, it's filled with resentment. You do it, but you say, yeah. So I'll share with you a story of a friend of mine named Dave. My friend Dave was one of them kind of guys that every time you turned around, he was caught in the same old snowstorm with bad relationships. And I was there to help him out. And I felt I was obligated to help him out and bail him out. With his first wife, helping him move out. Then he got into another relationship and another relationship. Same woman, different face. So, so I'm helping him out, and it got to the point where it was wearing on me. Now, I lived in Riverside. He lived in Laguna Niguel, which is a natural hour drive to go down there and help him. And I put so much time and energy into his problems more than he did. And I called him once. I said, Dave, did you do this, that, and the other? He said, oh, no, I didn't. I'm like, this your problem, not mine. Then he wanted me to help him. He wanted me to help him move this one lady out. He let move in. She was a drug addict. I'm like, no, Dave, I can't do any more moves. I'm all moved out. Matter of fact, I'd rather go to the dentist than to do another move. That's how bad it is. And I told him, I said, I don't have any more time to do this. So I told him, I said, look, man, I said, there are no refunds on wasted time. There are no refunds on wasted time. Say that with me. There are no refunds. So when I first establishing my boundaries, I felt guilty. And Dave tried to make me feel guilty by not helping him, by saying no. I felt awkward. I felt guilty. And in the past, I would give these long, drawn-out explanations and justifications to say no, you know. And then one day, my buddy, he said, hey, dog. We're friends. So this is how we talk to each other. He said, hey, dog, look here. He says, no is a complete sentence. And I said, what? He says, no is a complete sentence. And when he told me that, every ounce of tension in my body I had around the request, it just diffused. Matter of fact, when I say that now, no is a complete sentence, I just feel that wash come over me. Say that with me. No is a complete sentence. Say it again. No is a complete That was a hard concept for me. It really was. So I graduated. I started learning how to say no. But I said no in a mild way when a request would come my way, and I'm like, no, I don't think that works for me, or no, that's probably not a good time, or why don't you ask me when we get a little closer? Don't hesitate to ask me when we're about 2 weeks away. Just don't hesitate. And then sometimes I just give a straight up no. No, thank you. I'll pass. I don't. And the moment I'm asked about doing a project, I ask myself, is this something that I really want to commit myself to? And if it's no, I'm comfortable with it. And just know, a generous no is more loving than a resentful yes. Say that with me.
A generous no is more loving than a resentful yes.
So I started putting myself first. I started putting myself on my calendar. I started having reset days that I can do whatever I want that day, whether I have some chores that I need to catch up on or whatever, but I can do whatever I want because that's my reset day. And I could be in sweats or shorts, do some journaling, reading, perhaps call someone I haven't spoken to in a while, or just jump in my car at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning and just go up the coast to Santa Barbara. And I did that one morning before I had my surgery. It was my reset day. I just jumped in the car, let the top down. It was about 5:30. And I watched the entire morning just open up. And something strange happened. I looked in my rearview mirror, and I actually saw the sun coming up in my rearview mirror. It was a little dark in front of me, but I saw the morning just open up, just blossom, just blooming. I don't even remember what I did that day in Santa Barbara, but just watching the sun come up in the rearview mirror, man, that did it for me. That was my reset. That was my reset day. And the amazing thing about the reset is that when I come back, I'm kinder to myself. I'm gentle with other people. I'm generous with other people. And I encourage you to honor yourself with these boundaries. And when you have these clear-cut boundaries that you don't cross, you won't let anyone else cross them either. Those are boundaries, and people will respect you for that. Let's go over these one last time. All together, there's no refund. No. No is a complete sentence. And a generous. No is more loving than a resentful yes. Happy Sunday.
Oh, thank you, Frederick. I like that. No is a complete sentence. Short, sweet, no. All right. Well, this week's talk title, as has been mentioned, is Boundaries Build Bridges. I love that title. It's 3 B's in a row. It's a great alliteration. Boundaries build bridges. So personal boundaries is what we're talking about. And, Frederick did a great job of telling us a little bit about what those personal boundaries look like. When I was a child, I had absolutely no clue what a boundary was. Well, what did it mean? Why would I use it? How did you, would you have any boundaries? Nah, because my family, boundaryless, complete boundarylessness. In my family, for example, if my mother and I were talking, after a while, we'd be discussing about, how we were trying to get something done. Always what would show up would be, just tell them, in exactly that way. just tell them. And followed by whatever was made up in the moment to help justify what I wanted to have or do or get. So the way to really say that is just tell them a lie. It's okay, right? And that's an example of having no boundary, right? And then we took absolutely no responsibility for our actions, right? Anything that happened in the family, nobody ever took responsibility for it. Nothing was ever our fault. Nothing was ever out of bounds. Nothing was over limits. And because of that, then, if you take no responsibility for anything, then everything's a mystery, isn't it? Right? And if you need to know anything, because everything is hidden. Nobody's ever straightforward about what's happening, why they feel anything. Well, you got to go find it, right? So in my family, nothing was off limits, right? You searched anybody's bedroom. You did whatever you could to figure out what was going on. What's the truth? What's the reality? So in my family, telling no lies was not the thing that I learned. It was the skill I learned was, how do you tell when somebody's telling a lie? How do you root out the truth? How do you figure out why they want what they want? Because nobody was straightforward. And everybody violated everybody's privacy. Now, when you're in your family and everybody's doing the same thing, well, it's just how the family works. But then I grew up. And I got to be, I moved out of the house when I was 17, started having relationships, real relationships, when I got down to California, started having a boyfriend here and there. They were complete disasters, because I didn't know. And the wonderful thing about what Reverend Mike tells us, he says it all the time. When you know better, you do better, right? So I ended up on a journey of learning what was a boundary. How do you implement these boundaries? What do we do with these things? But what I actually have come to recognize was the biggest impact of my childhood was, as I grew into an adult, I had absolutely no idea of who I was, of why I was, why I did anything, what I wanted. Because without boundaries, it's all a mystery, isn't it? You're a mystery without boundaries, to yourself and to other people. There's a guy named Henry Cloud. And he wrote a book back in the 90s called Boundaries, and then there's a long subtitle on it, which I don't remember. But he says this in that book. He says, boundaries define us. They define what is me and what is not me. A boundary shows me where I end and someone else begins, leading me to a sense of ownership. So first and foremost, what we're saying here is that boundaries are about me, are about you. Your boundaries define who you are. And if you don't have any boundaries, then you're an undefined person. If you don't create boundaries in your life, then you don't know who you are, and you don't know who you are not. That's just as important, right? We need to know who we are and who we're not over there, especially when we're making choices. You need to understand what your feelings are, what your dreams and aspirations are. You need to understand what makes you feel safe, and what doesn't make you feel safe. So as you learn about yourself, you learn to set the boundaries that reflect who you are. Now, the thing is we don't wait until we've defined everything about us to then go and set boundaries. No, we set them a little bit at a time, a little by little. And one of the secrets I've found to this process of setting boundaries is boundaries, you want to make them a line, not a wall, right? Because if you make them a line in the sand, when you find out that they're not quite the right boundary, it's okay. You just kind of wipe the sand away and draw a new line in the sand. But if you make the boundaries be a wall, this huge thing that you pile up around you, keeping everybody over there, they're absolutely over there. But the thing is that wall is so tall that they can't see inside. They can't see past that wall to see into your heart, to see into your soul, to know anything about you. So when we build these huge walls, it doesn't just keep us in, it keeps everybody out, and it keeps them out to the point where we're just a mystery. Right? We're just this conundrum. So our goal then is not to put up boundaries to protect us. Our goal is to put up boundaries in order to understand ourselves. Now, as you find that boundary is crossed, it's not like we get out the AK-47 and start shooting. It's good to have rational conversations with people that explain, I'm not just going to shout at them what my boundary is. I'm going to tell them what my boundary is and then explain why it's there. What is it about me that needs that boundary? It has nothing to do with them, right? So why don't we set boundaries? What is it about us? This is our issue, right? Not their issue. What is it about us that keeps us from setting boundaries? Well, I think that oftentimes it's basically just fear. And you might be scratching your head, well, fear of what? Well, when you set and communicate your boundaries, when people know what your boundaries are, well, they might judge you for your boundary, right? Why does he set his boundary there? What kind of person sets a boundary there, right? That's the judgment that we're afraid of. The other judgment that or the other thing that we end up being afraid of is that we might disappoint somebody else, right? This boundary that I set, maybe they won't like it. Maybe it will upset them. But Brené Brown, I love Brené. I've been quoting her a lot lately, haven't I? I love Brené Brown. She says, daring to set boundaries is about having the courage to love ourselves, even when we risk disappointing others. Even when we risk disappointing others. So, this is about self-care, isn't it then? It's about us being able to set a boundary, understand ourselves, and know how to react when that boundary is crossed. All these things are self-care. And we have to do it first for ourselves before we can do anything for people around us. It's that old paradigm, that old idea of put your own oxygen mask on first before you start trying to get other people to put their oxygen mask on. So we need to, around these boundaries, we need to sit in our lives, understand ourselves, set our boundaries, and then we can work with other people that we love. And that part about boundaries disappointing other people, that may be true. Maybe that boundary will disappoint somebody else. Maybe it will upset them. But let me ask you, would you rather be in a relationship where somebody's crossing over a boundary that you haven't communicated? Or would you rather just let them know and work through it instead? People are actually a lot more malleable, a lot more changeable than we give them credit for. We can oftentimes talk through behaviors and issues that come up with people without it being a huge war if we don't start the war ourselves. So we just tell people what our boundaries are, let them know, explain why, that's on us. Explaining why is our part of that communication. And then if they don't understand, we can explain some more. If they keep not understanding, if they are intentionally not understanding, have you ever known somebody like that? They're really not listening to you, and they're intentionally not hearing what you're saying. Well, then that's a time for us to rebuild our bridge with them. It changed the level of intimacy that we have with that person, because it's better truly to have our boundaries and have those set the way we are, the way we define ourselves, than it is to be in a place and in a way that we are always having our boundaries crossed over. So, boundaries build bridges. What I've been talking about so far has been, it sounds like they restrict things, right? They definitely do restrict behaviors. They restrict the behavior that I do to other people, the way that they're going to be with us. But here's how boundaries build bridges. You can imagine that if I had a set of boundaries over here, I got something in my hand so this doesn't work so well, and you have a boundaries set over there, when we put them overlay them, put them on top of each other, there's going to be a place. There's going to be areas where we are fine, right? Where we don't have to worry about what is their boundary, what is my boundary, because this is an area, a playground that we get to play in together. My brother and I'm going to be going to see him at the end of next month. I haven't seen him for a couple of years, so this will be a good trip. But my brother and we are absolute opposites on politics. I mean, about as far apart as you could get. He lives in Idaho. He's appropriately placed. I hope there's nobody from Idaho that would find that offensive. But I lived in Idaho. I get to say that. And with my brother and we used to argue a lot. And there was a Christmas years ago where he actually told me that gay people shouldn't be teachers. Christmas Day. It was a wonderful Christmas present. And so since then, since that day, many years ago, that was probably 30 years ago, since that day, we don't talk politics, not really. But we'll talk around it because everybody, we are far apart politically, but everybody has areas of commonality. And we have managed over 30 years to find those areas that we agree. And so when we get together, we play in that playground, right, of possibility, where we kind of stretch the boundaries just a little bit. We're careful with each other not to jump over the boundary, but we'll come right up to it. We'll talk. He'll give me his opinions. I'll give my opinions. And we have a place, a way of being in this way, where we can be brothers, where we can love each other. We can disagree vociferously, and yet we're not hurting anybody's feelings. We're not, trying to change. He's not trying to change me. I'm not trying to change him. But we are trying to understand each other. And so boundaries build bridges. So in this opportunity space that comes when we lay our boundaries on top of each other and find that sweet spot, it's a place where we can be creative with each other. It's a place where we can be at peace with each other. It's a place where we can know each other and learn more about each other. This is the place that we want to find in our relationships. When we're looking to be in relationship with somebody, find that sweet spot of possibility. When we're working in teams at work or, in community, whatever, find that sweet spot of possibility. And when we're here in spiritual community, we want to find that playground, that way that we can be with each other where we're all safe, we're all happy. And so today, we have our affirmation for you. So I want to say thank you to Harris for the affirmation. It's here on our screen. Let's say it together. My boundaries create opportunities. Short and sweet, huh? Let's say that one more time. My boundaries create opportunities. So as you go out into your week this week, what I'd like you to do is look at the areas in your life where fear is causing you to be dishonest with yourself. And also define who you are with boundaries. Just go ahead and use those boundaries to understand yourself more fully. And then, remember, make them like a line in the sand, not a big, tall wall. And communicate them out with people. Tell them what your boundaries are. It's okay for people to know what your boundaries are. Remember that creating boundaries is all about self-care, and that it's about creating an opportunity space for us to play together. And as always, if you're not quite sure, how to do that, just let Spirit guide you. Thank you, and namaste. And so now's the time for a little bit of prayer, a time for us to anchor in these ideas and to let go everything that does not fit. And I do that, I start that process by recognizing and knowing this life, this power, this presence that is Spirit. I know that this life is living itself throughout everything. There is no place where God is not. I know absolutely that this life that creates everything in my life, in your life, in all life, that life is moving through us and having its way with us. That it creates out of itself, out of the love and the peace and the harmony that it is. It creates that into our lives because that's the way it works. Spirit just saying yes and creating back to us what we put into it. And so just as that is true of spirit, it's same for me, it's the same for you, same for those of you in this room, those of you online. It's the same for everyone in this whole wide world. That we are the life that spirit is. We're individualized expressions of the divine. And so we do have boundaries that separate us in its own way by defining who we are as an individual. We have those boundaries, and yet we are still all one. We are all this one life, this one divine presence that Spirit is. And so it's from that place of knowingness that I speak my word as the truth for each and every one of us, that this life divine is moving through us and as us, that God, Spirit, Allah, whatever you want to call it, that it moves through us and as us as love. That love is the relationship. It's the building blocks of all the relationships that we have. It's the acceptance that allows us to have boundaries. It's the peace that God is, that lives within us, that allows us to be and come from a place of peace, even if somebody steps across that boundary. It's the joy and the harmony that God is, that lives in every one of our relationships, creating this space of opportunity for us to create together something that's wildly divine, something that is true, something that is beyond our imaginings. And so I just give thanks from that place of knowing this life is the truth of each and every one of us, that it's the truth of you, it's the truth of me, it's the truth of everything and everyone. And I release this prayer to the law, knowing that it's already fulfilled in the mind that God is. And I say life and God are good and very good. And together we say, and so it is. Amen and amen. And so now is the time for our conscious contributions. If you're here at the center, there's offering envelopes in the pews that you can put your conscious contribution into. Put your name on it so that we know that it's from you and that we can hold you in prayer and thanks. And if you're online, there's 3 ways to give. One is to go to ahiah.com/donate and then either do the giving, online giving through Breeze or through GiveButter. And then you can also text to give by texting the word give to 616-229-2225, and then it'll walk you through the process of putting in your card number and everything. There's also the old-fashioned way of sending a check in to the address showing on the screen here. However you do that, I just am so appreciative of everything that you give. And so let's just take that virtual gift to our heart. And we've got a blessing that I'd love for you to read along with me. It's showing on your screen. This gift I give is God in action. I send it forth with joy, confidence, and ease. I am blessed by the law of giving and receiving as I now share my gift with life. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. And so it is. Amen and amen. And so now I'd like to ask Jessica to come on up. She's going to give us another song.
To see how I fly, but the wind's out of the plans for me. Then around a curve, and then toes just to make you see. At times it all comes way too soon when it goes crash, boom. See, I was lying on my face, was gonna miss my race. Had to stay in bed to rest my head. And now I gotta go slow and take it day by day, and then everything will be okay. That ain't always easy. It keeps you on your toes just to make you see. At times it all comes way too soon when it goes crash, boom. Felt like I lost my smile, my partner too for a while. Calculations went over my head. See, when you fall in life, don't give up just quite. Rest up, no shame, and then get back in the game. Life ain't always easy. It keeps you on your toes just to make you see. At times it all comes way too soon when it goes crash, boom. Keeps you on your toes just to make you see. At times it all comes way too soon when it goes crash, boom. Life ain't always easy. It keeps you on your toes just to make you see. At times it all comes way too soon when it goes crash, boom.
Oh, thank you, Jessica. All right, we have some kids. I think we have some kids. Well, we have, yes, we do. There they are. I'm looking back in the corner, and they're all there. I'm like, where are all the guys?
Good morning. First of all, I just want to say thank you for another really successful fundraiser. We made $400.
Cleared $400.
On baked potatoes. So thank you so much for your support, love, and generosity. And we're slowly getting there to what we need for camp. So that's very exciting. And so the teens are going to tell you what they did.
Hello, good morning. I'm going to be passing the microphone down to Alex, and she will be talking about what we did.
Hello.
Hi, Alex.
So today in teen group, we were talking about what self-love is and how do we define it. And then we did an activity where we made a name tag and we doodled or just wrote words that we want to embrace, and then on the back we wrote what we would be embracing.
Oh, you're not supposed to share. That wasn't part of the program. Sorry, Reverend. Would anybody want to share what they put on their name tag?
I put a little abstract in mine. So I put like some stuff I really like. So I put in some music notes, and I put in a cat, and then I put in like some of my favorite drawings that I did.
Yes.
I put an eyeball.
In our room, we did ours a little bit differently, and we talked about the beauty and beauty that we all are, and our own excellence, and how when we see beauty and excellence in others.
Here's a microphone.
That helps us to see it in ourselves. And so, yes, theirs was a little more abstract, and they just went with whatever felt like it was representative of them for their name tags. Thank you.
Who do I pass it to?
Thank you, guys. All right. Well, we'll be having another teen fundraiser. We're figuring it out right now, but we have so much fun at these. Oh, thank you. Thank you. We have so much fun at these that, we should have them every week, I think. Don't you guys? All right. Well, next up is an announcement from Nancy Johnson. Let's hear what she has to say.
Good morning, Ahiah family. This is Nancy Johnson, and I have an announcement about a fun event coming up for our community. On Saturday, May 13th, Ahiah will be going to Chavez Ravine to see our Dodgers take on our major rival to the south, the San Diego Padres. The seats we have are on the third base side in the covered reserve section. The seats are $50 each, and you can pay online. There are no deals on parking, so carpooling is suggested. Parking at Ahiah is free for anyone carpooling or planning to take public transportation to the stadium. Additional information is available at ahiah.com, and Annette Spence has all the facts, and you may call her for additional information. Let's have a game day adventure with our friends and family, rooting for our home team. Think blue, and go Dodgers!
Go Dodgers!
Good morning, Ahiah family. This is
No, that wasn't supposed to go again. But we do have the QR code here. If you were to take your camera and put it on the QR code, it would give you a link to buying the tickets. It's also for those of you who are in-house here. It's on your program too. So that's coming up all the way May 13th. Yes. So buy your tickets now. Got it, Rev? I see. Yep, there you go. All right. Next, I want to remind you a week from tomorrow, we have Creating the Beloved Community. We do that each and every month. You don't have to have come to any of the previous ones. We're on like number 27 or something right now, huh? You don't have to have come to any of the other ones in order to come to this one. This one, or any of them actually, but this one is going to be special. We have Dr. Daniel Atkins. He did a workshop here in January, so he's known as an intuitive psychologist. I really appreciated and loved the workshop that he had here. I thought that the way that he works with folks, it brought out things in people. I know I got some new thoughts for myself out of it. So we're going to be doing this, and he's going to be talking about trauma and, how we get this generational trauma and what do we do about it. So again, that's Monday, March 27th from 7 to 9 p.m. only on Zoom. Go to ahiah.com/virtual for the Zoom room link. And then we have the annual meeting coming up on April 2nd. That's 2 weeks from today. Remember, you have to be a member to vote at the annual meeting, but you don't have to be a member to attend. Everybody is welcome. Even if it's your first time at Ahiah, you are absolutely welcome to come to the annual meeting. We'll be talking about where we've been in the last year, including the financial run through of how we've done financially for the year. And then we're going to move on to electing new board members. So we have 2 board members that are coming off. They are Myrna and Deborah. They finish out their term, although it was a short term because in 2020, we didn't do our annual meeting until I think it was October or something like that because of COVID that year. And so both of them have served just really 2.5 years instead of 3 full years, which is the normal term. And so what the nominating committee and the board wants to present at the annual meeting is we had one applicant. His name was Michael Daniker. Michael Daniker applied to be on the board, and he is being put forward by the nominating committee and the board of trustees to be voted onto the board. And then both of those bodies have recommended that Deborah Glick her term be extended to 2024, and that way should be on the board for 3.5 years instead of 2.5 years. The reason we picked Deborah over Myrna is Deborah is our treasurer right now, and we've gone through some changes when Brenda Gant left, and so we're still just kind of getting all the finances and the way we want to do it, and we're making some changes and updating things. So we think that Deborah's a good candidate for spending more time on the board. And so we'll be talking about that. We're going to have some food right here at Ahiah before the board meeting, which is all for free. We're just giving it to you to entice you to be at the annual meeting. So next week, we will do it both here. We'll be at the sanctuary for the meeting, and we'll also be on Zoom. So those of you who are members who live far away and can't be here, you can be here on Zoom. But we would also, if you live close, we'd love for you to be here in person. So again, that's April 2nd from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock. And then I want to remind you that Reverend Mike's going to be doing a computer safety workshop on the 30th of April. And we have our book study, and we have our healing circle each and every week. They're on Zoom. And so our practitioners who are here today, I saw Myrna, I see Jackie back there, Frederick's over here in the sound room, we've got Chris Glick over here, and of course, Reverend Mike and I are first and foremost practitioners. And so if there's anything heavy on your heart, you would like to have a little prayer today, just pick one of us. We would love to pray with you. And if you want to contact any of us after service, some other time during the week, there is contact information at ahiah.com/meetourpractitioners. We also do an online prayer service, so just go to ahiah.com/prayers, put in your prayer. Only the ministers and practitioners ever see that. And we have a prayer request that Reverend Mike just showed. It goes right back there in that prayer box that's just past that double door. So if you're here today, that's a way of doing that. And we also do a weekly dial-a-prayer to give you a boost in the middle of your week. So, we've had a great time. I've had a great time with you guys. So let's go ahead and do our benediction. Read this along with me. Something wonderful is happening through me right now. It is this thing called life. Life is in my mind. Life is in my body. Life is in all of my affairs. I accept it, I am it, and I share it, just the way it appears and just the way it appears not. Thank you, life. Amen and amen. So it's been wonderful having you today. We're going to be having, if you're on Zoom, we're going to be continuing our fellowship in the fellowship hall, and we have the Zoom cameras all set up. I'll be over there in just a few minutes. So it's lovely having you here. Hope to see you next week. I love you guys. Thank you, and namaste. Yes.